Here's how we register a new user on the system using the registrations module. For that, we need to go to registrations module and then perform two separate actions. First, we have to register the person on the People tab. Only then we will register a user for that same person in the User tab. When you click on the People menu, the system will show every people that is already registered. If you want to register someone new, you can do that by clicking on the Add button on the top right of the screen. Before the registration begins, the system will need to validate if that person is not registered already. For that, we must give some initial information, such as if the person you are trying to register is an individual or a company, the nationality of that person, and the PIN number. You can use any type of ID as a PIN number, but if you don't want to input this type of information here, just leave it empty and the system will generate a random number automatically. You just need to click on Search for the system to perform that action. Since I decided not to put any information on the PIN, I'll just click on Search and the system will generate a random number for me. The system will then open the registration form. Here you'll have to input the data related to that specific person you're trying to register. Only the fields marked with the red star are mandatory fields for that step of the registration. Here I'll input the name of the person I'm trying to register. Very important, although the email field is not mandatory, you must fill it in order to register a new user, since it will be used in the registration process and login after the person is registered. For that exercise, we will only inform the mandatory fields, and once I finish that, I just need to click on the Save button and the system will register the new person. Since I did not inform any number prior to the registration, the system generated a PIN for the new person I just registered. Now that the person is registered, I can create its user. For that, I should click on the registration module and then on the User tab. Here the system will list all the person already registered as user. You can use the search bar to search for the person you want to give user permissions. You click on the name to select the person, or you just click on the action button to proceed with the registration. This screen should pop up, and here all you need to do, since you already informed the email, is inform which user group this new user will be part of. Every user must be part of a group on Data.IFAD. For that exercise, I will select the Administrator group. When you click on the Save button, the system will automatically send an email to the person so he or she could finish their registration and create a personal password. If you search the person you just created the user, these two new icons should appear. You can resend the email by clicking on this yellow button. Or you can also delete the user you just created. If the person did not receive the email within 30 minutes, you can come back here and click on Resend. If you want to delete the person so they cannot access your project, you just click on Remove User, and this user will be removed from the system. This is how the email should look like. To finish the new user registration, the person must click on the Confirm button . The system will then open the password creation form so the new user can create its own password. The new user must inform its password, confirm it on the space below, and then click Save. After that, the new user is created and you can proceed to the login page. Here you must inform your login, password, and then you click Enter to enter the system. Now we're gonna see how to reset your password. If you forgot your password, you need to reset it. To do that, all you need to do is to click on the Forgot Password icon on the login screen. Then you must inform the email used to register your user and click on Send. Very important, you must inform the same email used to register your user on the system. This is how a password recovery email should look like. Follow the instructions on the email and you'll be able to reset your password. When you click on that link, a password reset screen should open, where you should type and confirm your new password. If you follow those steps, you should be able to log into the system immediately after resetting your password. You just need to click on the Login button. Now we can move to see how permissions work on the system. It is possible to register permissions for a single user or for a user group. For the latter, we must return to Registrations and then click on User Groups options. Here you'll be able to register as many user groups as you want. The system already has 2 user groups by default: Administrator and General. The first has permissions to interact with all system functionalities, while the latter can only see some very specific information and is not able to change any information on the system. To create a new user group, you just need to click on the Add button. Decide the new group's name and then click on the Save button. After that, the new group is saved. A new group never has any permissions. You must choose which permissions you want it to have manually. For that, we will need to return to the registration module and click on the Permissions menu. On the Permissions menu, I have two options. Either register the permissions of a single user, or to attribute a series of permissions to a specific group. The group I just registered is already there. To set up its permission, I have to click on the Edit Permission button. Here you have all actions available on the system. You can search for a specific set of activities and then decide the level of that permission based on the options: See, Insert, Update, and Delete. If you want to do that with people, for example, we can decide if that user group can see, if they can also insert and register people, if they can update the registrations, and if they can delete that registration. Therefore, the system possesses a very robust structure of permissions when it is possible to inform in every action if you can see, insert, update, and delete that information. For that group, I'll just click on See, Insert, Update, and then click on Save. When I finish that action, every user that is part of the consultant's user group will be able to see, insert, and update people information on the Data.IFAD. Those permissions will then be passed to every user that is part of this specific user group. If I want to change a single user permission, I just need to move back to the user screen, select which user I want to customize, click on Edit Permissions, and follow the same path done on the group table. Very important, I cannot change the user's basic permissions based on its user group. This user, for example, will register as part of the administrator group. That means it can do everything on the system. Therefore, we will not be able to customize its permission in any way. To change a user's user group, I must return to the User tab. Then, I can select a group or change a previously selected group. The new user will now have the permission of that new group. If you want to add new permissions, I just need to go back to permissions and click on the Edit Permissions button. You go back to Registrations, Permissions, and click on Edit Permissions. You can search which type of action you want to change. And you can see that only See, Insert and Update are available since this specific user is now on the consultants user group. But I can give him the Delete Action button and save. That closes up the Permissions Registrations menu on Data.IFAD.